First question, Tom Caker.
Hey, Courtney, congratulations.
Thank you, Tom.
Wanted to ask you just about this process of kind of your career advancement and the role that Fran's played in kind of developing you as a coach to get to this position now where you're an assistant coach at the D1 level.
Yeah, obviously, going into my 7th year here at Iowa. So, I've kind of, like you said, been able to kind of start at the video coordinator spot, which was a great opportunity for me to really, see the side of the business from a coach's perspective. I'm really glad I got the opportunity to come in at the video coordinator spot because it allowed me to just view the game from a different perspective. Not from my player's perspective anymore. And I was able to learn, scouting, opposing teams and personnel, of guys in the league at a very, pretty much from day one. And, from there, was able to get into the director of recruiting role, which allowed me to, get on the phone with prospects and AAU coaches and high school coaches. The COVID waiver that the NCAA passed, so 2 non-coaching members were able to get on the court, and it just helped my trajectory, tremendously. And it just gave me, the experience and opportunities that I might not have had, had we not been in a pandemic. And Coach McCaffery has been somebody who's been very influential in my life. And, just seeing how he comes in the office on a day-to-day basis, wins, losses, he is a great family man and, a role model of mine, a father figure of mine, and somebody I look up to with tremendous respect in the way he carries himself. I just hope to, kind of emulate him, one day.
John Bowenkamp.
Hey, Courtney, what when you talked about that, about analyzing video and things like that, what did you learn that you think you'll be able to translate now as you get into more of a hands-on role as a coach?
I know that, just not talent alone will be sufficient at this level. There are good players all, everywhere. But, you have to put a roster together. You have to have the chemistry and the camaraderie in order to be successful. And then, in the video room, I was able to, hone in on certain, offensive schemes and I would be able to, look at the trends and common things of teams and coaches, in our league. So going forward, that'll help me, in opposing scouting tremendously. And, those hours spent in the video room, they were, I can't put a price tag on how important it was to really get in at that level and really study that. I recommend that for, a lot of people trying to get in this business, to really, get in that video room and study.
Corey.
Coach, congratulations. First of all, this is just my observation. You can correct me if I'm wrong. It seems like you're a fiery guy. And I'm wondering too, I know many would consider you a bit undersized to play point guard at the D1 level, but of course you did and did so very successfully. How does that translate to this position? And does it help you with just the changing landscape of college athletics with NIL and a transfer portal? Does that edge that you seem to have, does that translate over well?
I think it does. And that was kind of one of the things that Coach McCaffery and I really had in common, and that really bonded us, from the player coach perspective. I saw how fiery he was, and that made me want it, that much more, not only for myself, but for him as well. But, like you said, I always had something to prove, kind of every time, I went out on the floor and something that I can continue with to this day. Like I have a chip on my shoulder. I know I don't have, the best, resume that maybe some other, coaches might have, but I think my 12 years of playing experience is very valuable. I'm able to relate to our guys and build relationships, with the guys from all over the country and all over the world for that matter. So those are just some of the skills that, I've been able to kind of bring with me and continue to hone on as as I develop as a coach and, hope to be a head coach one day.
Tom,
Courtney, I wanted to ask you about it's kind of a twofold question. One is I recently visited with Desante Bowen, and he had a lot of great things to say about you as somebody who's been kind of a sounding board for him, a coach who recruited him, but also a friendship. Can you talk about him as a player and a person, what I was getting there? And then you're taking Billy Taylor's spot. He's moving up and being a head coach. How did Billy kind of serve as a mentor to you the last few years?
So again, Desante, I've known probably almost before he was born, to that aspect. I know his older siblings. His father, Ray, is a Boston City police officer. So I played, for him in the Boston Police Athletic Leagues, growing up. So we do have a special bond that extends beyond the basketball floor. I first took Coach McCaffery to see him when he was like 15 years old. And I think it was right after Andrew left and I was on the road, for that specific, period. And took Coach to watch him play down in Georgia. And Coach said, "I'll take this kid right now." And, he was a sophomore or going into his sophomore year. And we just kind of stayed on him and monitored him. And, he just got better, year in and year out and developed, somewhat of a, skills, that we haven't had, at the point guard position since I've been here. He's an athletic. He's got a fiery side to him as well. Can shoot the ball, gets downhill, and create for others. I'm excited about him. I can't wait to get him on campus here in a couple of weeks, and got a lot of high expectations for him. Everybody back home is excited that him and I are together here, and hopefully builds kind of a bridge, back from the East Coast to out here to Iowa. So I'm looking forward to having him here. And second part of your question, BT has been nothing but an awesome role model for me. Even as a player, he was my assistant coach at UNCG, and probably the coach I had the best connection with, as he had just finished playing at Notre Dame, and he was still one of the coaches that could get out there and physically show us something. So upon him coming back to Iowa 3 years ago, we kind of leaned on each other. And, one of our common goal was, just making sure, we're doing everything that, things that coach doesn't have to worry about, making things run smoothly, with him and Coach Spira and Coach Dillard, being able to learn from those guys who all have, tremendous amount of experience in this business. I couldn't ask for a better staff to just kind of sit and watch on a day-to-day basis. But, BT has been a great sounding board, for me, throughout my playing career. And, in the last, 6 years as I transitioned from player to becoming a coach. So, and it hasn't, just again, it wasn't a 4-year plan. And I've been talking to, BT and Coach McCaffery for the last, 20 years, maybe not on a daily basis, but we've always had contact. So, those are two guys that I have tremendous amount of respect for and love for. And, although it's sad to see BT go, I know he's going to do great down in Elon. He's the epitome of what a head coach is. And, he's been a great role model for me.
Mike,
Along those lines, Courtney, Well, how do you feel about Kirk Bohn retiring, and what do you think that the program will do to compensate for his absence?
Again, being able to sit, the last 6 years and just learn from Kirk and watching him on a day-to-day basis. He's great with, developing relationships with the guys and, bringing them in for film. And he's a great tactician, knows his scouts in and out, eyes closed, backwards. Like he really works at that stuff. And it was great, to see him. I hope I can, be half as good as he was. But, knowing when he had a scout, like we would definitely know, we would be prepared. And great family man. And I think, that kind of contributed, to, his exit. And, you can't say anything, negative about the guy. Always positive, bringing great energy to the practice floor every day. We're surely going to miss him. I was looking forward to working with him this year. I wish nothing but the best for Coach Bohn. I hope he gets to, enjoy his time, and I'm sure, he'll be coming into practices and providing input, for us and be helpful, for years to come.
Chad?
At Courtney, how heavily involved are you in the transfer portal? I know you have a big role in recruiting, but how much are you directly involved in that? And what's it like out there right now?
I would say I'm involved just as much as the other coaches are. I probably, dive into it a little bit deeper, just at, checking it. Well, at the time, before the deadline, just checking it to see who was in there. It's kind of referred to as speed dating now, right? And one of the things here at Iowa, I think one of the great qualities we have is we build really good relationships with guys and find guys who really want to be here. And, it's hard to do that with, guys who are on the portal. They're kind of, looking for the instant, gratification and stuff like that. And it's hard to really know who you're recruiting and, know about them and will they be a good fit? It's easy to look at numbers and say, oh, he averaged, X, Y, and Z at certain places. Let's get him. And, you still have to factor into, who you have on your current roster and, playing time and, can't play 13 scholarship players, anyway. And it'll be hard to do that. So I think we're in a really good spot where we are right now. We're not done by any means. There's a June 1st deadline. So that, there'll be guys trickling back into college within the next couple of weeks. So, we'll look and do our due diligence and see if there's somebody that we think can help our team. And if not, I like the team that we have, and we'll go to war with, who wants to be here next year.
Corey?
Last thing for me, Coach. I'm curious, this is more of a player personnel question, but as it relates to Josue Gundy, of course, he's a Massachusetts kid, originally from the UK, but given your roots out there, did you have any conversations specifically with him when he entered the portal that kind of maybe lent itself to cause him to want to come back? And where do you see as far as development for Josh coming into this coming season?
I mean, I think, Josh and I have a really good relationship, being that, I was one of the guys who, kind of initiated the conversations. Again, we played for the same AAU coach and team. Again, it's about building relationships, right? Like, oh yeah, he's got other schools calling him, but they don't love him like I do. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's hard. It's really hard to recruit somebody out of the transfer portal. It's, again, I already said this, but it's like you meet the guy and you want to talk, and the boom, it's like, can you come on campus tomorrow? Like there's just no relationship. And Josh knows we care about him here. We didn't want him to leave in the first place. And I think he felt that. And, it was one of the reasons why he came back. I think he sees an opportunity also to grow and develop and see, what we've done with players at his position. And, it's going to be up to him how bad, he wants it. And I we've had conversations post, him coming back, and, he's saying all the right things, and, we'll see what happens, June 13th, when it's time to go. And we, start our workouts to see if he puts his best foot forward. So we're good. Be encouraging Josh, and we love Josh, and we're glad that he's back. And hopefully, he takes the initiative and takes a big step, because we're going to need him this year.
We have time for a few more questions. Mike Halas.
If this has been answered recently, I apologize. And if you're not at liberty to answer this, I understand, but has anything been decided on a possible overseas trip this summer?
We are, as far as I know, we are not going overseas this year. I was just kind of confirmed yesterday that we are not going. But I think we'll be looking to go next year. We have some time to plan and, look at some destinations. But as far as I know, I think next year is the year that we're going to be going.
That is correct. Yep. Any other questions for Courtney? Seeing none. Courtney, appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll be seeing you down the road.
All right.
everybody.
Thanks, guys.